to the world. Subscribe now to the Hot 97 YouTube channel. It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg.
It's Ebro in the morning. Mama Stiles is taking care of the baby. Rosenberg's here, and we got the legend, Cal Method Man, back on the program. What's up, sir?
What's up with you guys, man? What's happening? What's happening? I was just making a suggestion that maybe Ebro in the morning should move to Ebro in the afternoon so the artist could get a little bit more rest.
But here go, man. You gotta wake up. We got the essential workers, we got the truck drivers,
that's right?
We got the, you know what I'm saying, the school teachers, you know, the EMS, FD&Y, you know, all the early cats is up with us. You know what I mean? People out here getting it done. So we need Method Man with us sometimes, man.
That's right. Real talk.
Yo, before we get into talking about Power Book 2, I just want to say, man, you sounding amazing on these records you putting out, man.
Thank you.
Know what I'm saying on that Conway, that joint sound crazy. That Ill Will record, I know a lot of people didn't really peep that Ill Will. If you don't know about that Ill Will Method Man, that GOAT record, that joint kind of fire too.
You got to do it with Billy Dan's.
Yeah. Oh, that's
MOP.
Yo, talk to us about these raps, man. Let's get to Method Man rap talk. I mean, you getting a lot of asks. Are you working on an album? Like, what's going on?
Well, first and foremost, the bars. The way I can explain that is I just got tired of people fronting on me, thinking I can't rhyme. I ain't as good as this one. I ain't as good as that one. I'm just as good, if not better. The thing with it, I have more time to write now, and I do it because I want to, not because I have to anymore. So that always makes it a bit more comfortable. And as far as material coming, Meth Lab 3, me and Havoc have our album done. We're going to do this EP with Rockweiler, and may have a surprise coming with something else. You know what I'm saying? Maybe another Wu project.
Yo, so that's what I was going to ask you, Meth. You sound so in pocket right now. You're so comfortable. And I was wondering, is the difference now that you have this consistent actor life? This is just a hobby, huh? This is now just what you get to do for fun.
Hip hop has always been a hobby and what I did for fun. I never lost that part of it, you know. It's just when you have time schedules and restraints, people have to understand. I was in a group, I was in a duo, as well as in solo artists. So anytime I was working on an album, I was basically working on 3 albums at once. So material had to get put out, and I was jotting a lot. I admit that. I definitely admit that. But I know the value of the word and people listening. So, you know, ignorance is bliss when you're younger, but as you get older and you start to notice certain things, you want to solidify what your legacy is going to be, and you start to, you know, kind of smooth out those edges, those rough edges that you had as a youngster, which you're entitled to because you're young. You know, you can always blame it on being young. But as you get older, you have to refine yourself and find your way. And I think I've done that.
Speaking of refining, you stay in the gym too. You was even for a while there. I don't know if you're still doing it. I thought you and Marvel was cooking up something. You was headed towards the superhero, you know what I mean? feature film. I didn't know what that was. I was co-signing for sure.
Yeah, I think I need a bit more refinement, but go ahead.
So you are a comic book fan. We're gonna get to that in a second, but is there a relationship or a potential for you to get into that action, you know, movie life?
Yeah, Lord willing, yes. I mean, I'm open to anything, honestly. I mean, a role is a role. I'm not turning down anything but my collar. But I'm pining for an MCU role. It doesn't necessarily have to be the role that I wanted, but I would love to see more Black characters, even if they invented a new one. You know what I mean? Which I really think is overdue. We need to introduce a new, you know, instead of trying to gender swap or race swap old characters that are beloved to us already, why not create new ones that are diverse, you know? And I would be on board for that anytime.
Meth, you I read an article about your involvement with Lacrosse, which you played in, I believe, in high school, right?
Yeah, I know, not in high school. That's that Hulu Wu-Tang Saga Continues series. That's that Wu-Tang American history.
So that's not real.
No. I actually did play lacrosse, but it was prior to high school. You know, I played.
It's the Long Island days, right?
Yeah, Long Island, preteen age. I played for 5 years. So when this opportunity presented itself, you know, Paul Rabel, Mike, his brother and Kaminsky and those guys, when they presented it, we want to do a collab with Method Man on some lacrosse. As soon as I heard lacrosse, I was on. I love the sport, man. It's a great sport, and I was hoping that with these guys' resources, we can get more programs into the urban areas. Because honestly, once I moved from Long Island and got to Staten Island, lacrosse didn't start for a lot of these kids till high school, whereas us, we've been playing since we were like 8 years old. So by the time we get to high school, we're dominating. So imagine a kid that just started, if we could just get them early at their most impressionable ages, give them something to do outside of just hanging out and doing weird stuff that these millennials do now. I'll leave that alone. We could build the next, super athlete. I mean, damn, Jim Brown played lacrosse.
Right.
It seems like, Meth, for you've had a very diverse upbringing in general, and it's sort of helped you, at least from the outside. Culturally, you've always seemed so diverse, from the stories of lacrosse you just told, your interest in comic books. I mean, hell, Method Man is based on Method of Modern Love by Hall & Oates. You have always had a very diverse palette. Do you think that's played a big part in your success? And is that something you'd love to be able to kind of help pass on to other kids, that diverse palette?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But if you're listening, there are some of these kids now who are, tapping into those different aspects of, culture. For me, as a kid, I just paid attention too much. I was exposed to a lot too early because I was nosy. And the things that I held on to, I used later on in life. It feels kind of crazy because when you're actually in it and you're doing these things and you're making these references to these different things, your parents figured you weren't paying attention when they were playing these records or reading these books or watching these programs, but you actually were. And that bit of pop culture from that era stays with you. And then you drag it into this era of pop culture, which keeps the familiarity with the younger kids who actually know who a lot of these, or a lot of what these, or where a lot of these references come from. And it's crazy, I don't know. It's
so true, though, because
it's like a cornucopia of just whatever my parents listened to and the people I grew up around. It was sign of the times.
And the point you're making is
when we were outside more. Now,
and the point you're making too is kids are absorbing more than we give them credit for.
Yeah, they're paying attention a lot more than we give them credit for. And so I'm a big believer in what you do around your kids reflects on them, and you have to watch what you do and say, because you're going to be their moral compass for a large part of their life or their growing stage.
Power Book 2, new episode coming, I believe this weekend. Season episode. Yeah. Are we at episode 6?
Episode 6, yes.
You are the lawyer McLean.
Davis McLean.
Yeah. Talk about this role in your whole acting resume. Because I'm trying to, how many times you played clean cut? I mean, and by clean cut, I'm using air quotes for clean cut.
I already know. Yeah. Probably this is the first. This is probably the first. And I applaud Courtney, 50, Bart, Shanna, all the guys over there at STARZ, even the people at Lionsgate for even giving me a shot to do this. Power, I mean, it's a bit intimidating because, they had a regular series for 6 seasons that, was prior to this. This is a spinoff of that. So when you're following, great writing like that, great cast, people love Amari. I mean, Tommy is invited to every cookout I ain't invited to, damn near. But it's a bit intimidating. But they were so accommodating when I came in. We had 2 of the veterans there. Notori Norton, who I do a lot of my scenes with, great scene partner, by the way. She coaches me off set. And Michael, who's our leading guy, who we stand behind 110%, and I applaud him. He's doing an excellent job up there, because anytime you can be the most hated character on TV, right? And then somebody comes in and they're so devious, they make you likable. You're doing your job. You are doing your job.
As I've heard, you know, your character, Michael Rainey obviously is bodying it, and people definitely dislike that kid. But you know, as far as the character, but yeah, I'm told that you are definitely making him look like the good guy.
Yeah, and it's amazing. And but you know what I like about Davis McLean is you don't know if you like him or dislike him yet. Right now, they dislike him, but as the show progresses and goes on, you're going to come to that question again. I don't know if I like him or if I don't like him.
Let me ask you this: do you like him? You know, because actors, y'all get in these roles and you have your feelings about the character you're playing, right? When you put that emotion in, do you like the character? Like as a fan of what you're doing?
I never thought of Davis like that. I don't even consider him, but if I had to choose like or dislike, I don't know. I don't know because there are certain things that I do like about him, and there are certain things that I dislike about him. The things I like about him is his focus on what the objective is, which is winning. But what I dislike about him is some of his ways of going about winning at times, you know.
The scumbaggery.
Right, scumbaggery. I love that.
You talked about basically what you described was being the bad guy who can be so bad that they can make someone else appealing, and it made me think of my favorite pastime and one you've referenced a lot: professional wrestling. When you were a kid, were there any particular bad guys that really caught your attention at their ability to do that?
Larry Zbyszko. That was the first time I've ever seen blood. It was in black and white because we were watching, you know, it UHF channels on channel 47. Yep. Larry Zbyszko hit. Oh fuck! It wasn't Bruno. You know, it's big grunt. What's his name? Bruno Sammartino. There we go.
Zbyszko hit Sammartino, busted him open.
Yeah, bust him wide open, and I didn't know about cutting them, but whatever. Anyway, we were sitting there in awe, and I remember my boy who got me into wrestling because his teacher was a photographer for a lot of the events. You could see his teacher come in and take a picture of the bloody scene. And the reason why we knew it was his teacher because he had this long hair but a bald spot in the middle. This is the 70s, y'all. He had a bald spot in the middle, and you seen that big bald spot with the long hair, and that was him taking that picture. From there, I was just, it was like a big ass soap opera, you know. And I don't know if it was, you know, the moves or the personalities or both. I was just hooked, you know. Rene Goulet, Stan Stasiak, the Wild Samoans, Captain Lou Albano.
Well, I mean, you're from that area. I was going to say you heard Pat Patterson passed away yesterday, right? 79.
Yeah, I just heard about that, man. Pat wasn't a great wrestler, but Pat was good for the sport. You know, he was a good guy, a very, very good guy, man. And if you were teammates with Pat Patterson, he gave you 110% in that ring. Blessings.
Speaking of characters, before we started this conversation, you was telling us you had 30,000 comics downstairs at the crib.
Yeah, well, the majority of them are actually in my garage elevated. So, because I had a flood before, I lost a lot of books. But I'll tell you what, the books that I had bagged and board weren't even touched. And they were damn near submerged in water. No sweating of the bags, nothing. So kids, if you're a comic book collector, boards and bags are very important. They work. But yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I got the majority of them in my garage, and I have my memorabilia room in the basement. There's a good 5,000 comics down there also. Yeah. But now my comic book store is closed, and I do digital now. So, you know, if I'm going to collect, I have to really go out my way to get issues.
What's your and apologize because we don't know much about value of comics, but what's your number one? Do you have an absolute prize gem hanging on the wall in the frame? Number one for you?
No, that's not hanging up on the wall. You don't want to show your money. That's tacky. You don't want to show that's tacky. But it's the first appearance of Wolverine, Incredible Hulk 181, mint condition.
Incredible Hulk 181, mint condition, first appearance of Wolverine.
For me to understand, did you get that at the time, or did you go track that down because you knew what it meant?
Someone at a comic book store gave it to me. Perks. The most I paid for a comic book back issue is $75, which was unheard of at the time. So, but I was getting a little money then. So, and
No,
that was
still the most you've spent is $75
on one book. That was a 75-cent book, I believe. Yeah. Long Shot #1. I was just obsessed with the character Long Shot. He wasn't exactly a mutant, but kind of like a mutant, and he ran with the mutants, but he just had this weird power where luck just dropped in his lap. You know, he could slip on a banana peel and land in a vat of $1 million or something like that. It's one of those powers, you know what I'm saying? And I just always like that, always. But yeah, man, y'all gotta get me to get out of my books, man.
Well, I'm fascinated by this, Meth. Even with the success you've had, you never just had that one elusive, expensive book that you're like, you know what, screw it. I've done well for myself. I'm gonna drop $2,000 on this one thing or $500. Never happened.
I want the first appearance of Spider-Man. If I could find that for a reasonable price, I'd pay upwards of 5 figures. Yeah, first appearance of Spider, I would definitely pay upwards of 5 figures for a mint condition. So if anybody's out there got one, hey,
you're in business now. Do you collect anything else besides comic books, or just comic books?
I collect heads. No, I'm joking. No, just the books. That's it. That was all.
Not
I really
figures or dolls or anything like that. Just
no. I got different memorabilia here and there and stuff, but I'm not a collector. Like let's say my son, who has a lot of those pop. You know what I'm talking about?
Those square-headed dolls.
Yeah, he's got nothing but Marvel characters, and they're all like, he has a wall full of them, man. He's at least a good 150 different characters. But as far as me, that was just it. That was it for me, the comic books. You know, you couldn't have too many hobbies when you were young because you didn't have money. So you had to pick one. Right. You know what I mean? Comics
what I always find the most amazing about, you know, all of y'all from the Wu-Tang and just, you know, artists in our hip hop culture in general, is, you know, the childlike, the youthfulness, you know, being a collector, being an artist, being able to articulate that while also being, you know, from beginnings that were challenging. I don't think our culture, you know, gets enough acknowledgement for giving that outlet to young Black men specifically. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't those outlets didn't exist for Black men. You know what I mean? You always had this like hyper masculine lifestyle that people think that you have to be a part of. But meanwhile, people like yourself and a lot of other artists, you know, you have these other interests that don't get highlighted. And I feel like it brings a whole other dynamic to you as a human being that I think, you know, it's great to see and hear. And it also instills confidence in young people out there that have interests outside of just, you know, what's going on the block.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely true. I remember, it's funny. I remember watching the premiere of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Didn't know what to expect from Will Smith. I was always a fan, you know. I just knew he rapped and he could act. So when the show comes on, there's a scene where, you know, they're basically judging him by the way he looks. And he sits down at the piano and starts to play. And I mean, he was good at it. And I know that was Will actually playing. And for me, it blew my mind because I couldn't put the two together. But seeing it, it made sense to me. Does that make sense? Like,
absolutely.
Even seeing like the hardest kid on the block, like every time you see this dude, he always up in somebody's face, beating on him, beating or taking something from somebody. But you spot him one morning, suited up, going to church with his mother every Sunday. And it's like, wait a minute, but it makes sense, you know, for some reason. And that's just the beauty of some of these communities that we come from. I think that was the whole science of a rose growing out of concrete, you know? Yeah.
And when you think about, I mean, and then Will Smith, I mean, Meth, how much did he lay the groundwork? Like, is there a Method Man's career trajectory without Will Smith?
Probably, but I'm not going to take any credit away from him because he definitely opened a lot of doors, and he didn't have to kick them down because Will held himself with a certain kind of class. It was great that he came when he did come because he set not just a standard, but he made it acceptable for us to leave one genre and go into the next. Not necessarily for the hip hop audience, but for the people in Hollywood. It was like, oh my God. He's so cultured.
Right.
I didn't know rappers could be this way. You know what I mean? Yeah, we can be.
Do we not mention Kid and Play enough in that conversation too?
Kid and Play. I love Kid and Play. You know what I mean? They had their run with it's like me and Red with the How High thing, you know, but they went way further with the house party thing. And yeah, Kid and Play. You can't count out LL Cool J, who I think
facts.
That's my idol, period. You know what I mean? When I seen him in The Hard Way. Anybody remember that movie? Michael J. Fox. Movie dude, man. And he did pretty well in that one, even in Toys with Robin Williams.
I was about to say Robin Williams and LL and Toys is phenomenal.
Dope. Totally against who we thought LL was and stuff, you know. And it's like you can't hold back just raw talent, and there's so much untapped talent that people aren't getting because we're creatures of habit. You know, we like things a certain way. This is why you have a big disconnect between 90s hip hop and the hip hop of today, even 2000s hip hop and the hip hop of today, because you have an audience out there that says, no, it's supposed to be this way. And then you have another audience over here saying, no, it's not. It can be anything we want it to be. And who's to say either side is wrong? It's just that when you're older, you just feel like the gatekeeper of the culture, and it should be this way, and this is how my father did it, and this is how his father did it. And if we all followed that, no one would be great, man. We'd all just be regular.
And that analogy you just used as far as people in hip hop, but that applies to society in general. That's what we're going through right now, where you have older politicians, older, people in government that think that they understand, or older police officers that think that things got to be a certain way. And it's like, no, it don't. It don't.
No.
Matter of fact, we've been doing it that way, and we can pivot and make it better.
Yes, because what your way hasn't been always working, has it? It has worked, but not in the capacity that it could work for everyone. You know.
That's right.
So how about we take the good things? How about we take the good things that you had and get rid of the bad things and improve? Now, so Matt,
and that's all that, and that's all. Pardon me, and
No,
you say I'm the police, and people take that way out of context. It's not get rid of the police. It's saying, okay, we need a redo. We need a reset. We need someone. We need to sit down and have these conversations, because obviously this shit is being driven by fear. We need to sit down and have these conversations so you know that all of us and all of you aren't bad people. We have to be able to sit down and say, you know what, these are oppressed people over here in a system that's rigged to keep them where they're at. We have to have some understanding. We have to put people in these communities the same way we put them in those boardrooms that understand that diverse community. Hey. Because, you've seen the difference between policing in Central Park during the pandemic and policing in the South Bronx during the pandemic. 100%. So, I'm not making anything up here. Don't kill the messenger, you know what I mean? Observe the message.
It's facts.
And you're being from and in Staten Island as much as you are.
Bro, you know what? I love Staten Island. The people here are great. They can have their own beliefs, their own political, whatever it is. At the end of the day, people hate us. I just know anybody that doesn't live in Staten Island, they hate us, man. They think that we're weirdos. They think it's a trash dump. There's a lot of culture here in Staten Island. I think you all should visit sometimes. Dave Chappelle shot us down bad. He shot us down bad. He said, "Fuck Staten Island. Everybody but the Wu-Tang clan. Wu-Tang." That's my God. I love it.
Well, by the way, you mentioned something interesting about LL when you talked about him being your hero.
Yeah, that's my idol. Yeah.
So the battery was super when you dropped that "Playing My Position," Hot Nixon. When you came in on that 4-3-2, how serious were you about those bars?
I was like, LL gonna love this. I don't care if nobody else on this record hear it. LL better love this, because if he don't, I'm gonna be crushed. But he was always consistent with me. I keep it a buck. Even because being in the game as long as I've been, I've seen people go from block to superstar status and change. He's always stayed the same, in my opinion. Anytime I've run into L, he's always quick with the advice, even when you don't ask for it. Just to say never meet your hero, disagree. Because when I met Mom, he was great to me. So I'll just leave it there.
That's awesome.
Yo, Method Man, check him out on Power Book 2. New episode, I think it's December 6th on STARZ. Davis McLean. And he is not clean. By the way, he's not clean.
No, I'm not clean at all.
It's not clean.
I'm so dirty. Dirty dog.
Yo, man, love you, brother. And we getting the last album you dropped was 2018. You think we get a new album in 2021? Probably,
most definitely. Probably a couple of them. And I did something for Pete. Pete should play it for you. It's kind of hard. It's kind of
Wait, what? Wait, what? It's kind of hard.
I wasn't saying it, but Meth, I'm still finishing it, but Meth gave me something that he's dancing, yo. Meth is dancing in the pocket
you brought back the Diddy Bop? You brought back the you came through?
What? I'm not playing with him though. Y'all hear it. I mean, I'm one of those guys that can show you better than I can tell you any day, and that's what I plan on doing, especially with the hip hop.
Yo,
I love that, man.
Yo, well, while we wait on Rosenberg to deliver his record that he got with Meth, let's play this Conway the Machine joint with Method Man called Lemon. That joint right here is moving too.
Yeah.
Yo, bro, thank you for your time today, man. Keep going, man. We here, man. Whenever you're ready.
If I can, I would like to. I would like to leave your listeners with just a few words, if possible.
Of course.
All right. And it's about my writing prowess and critics. Basically, first they said I was overrated. Illegal motion. I had no motive or motivation. F the world. This is fornication. Just keep that energy. I'm a magic coordination. That's it.
Bars.
Now, when you go back and listen to it, you're gonna be like, "Oh my God." Hold up. Matter of fact, further. You know I'm fire, have water waiting. Send your location, I find vagina, your water breaking. Like sliding into a situation, no lubrication, plus I'm losing patience for penance, and I rebuke you, Satan. That's it.
Method Man.
Yo, this guy, he probably not. Yo, you ain't been to the gym yet. That's why you got all this energy. That's why you about to go in there and crush these pull-ups. I know what you're doing.
Thank you, Meth.
Yo, man.